for coming. It's quite a day for me. Sort of like when the men landed on the moon. It means that much to me. I had prepared a speech for the presentation headed in last year, and I was discussing situation with Hal Medford, who, gosh, I guess he's had a speech everywhere. And I said, well, I was going to ask for 7 minutes. He said, no way. Said, if you try to talk 7 minutes, they'll have you sitting down in 3. Well, here, this is home. I particularly like what you said about impacting people, changing their lives, and that's what this orchard is about. A story that I'll tell about that starts with when we moved here, my wife Judy and I, in 1993. I was home in a sense, even though I was a Yankee and born in Indiana. All my kinfolk came from East Tennessee. I was loving the music and going, and I was dancing and carrying on like I was enjoying myself. And my wife Judy, of 59 years, who passed recently, said, Bill, they're laughing at you. Your dancing is not up to par. But, she said, there is a beginning dance class downtown Spruce Pine. If you take it, I'll take it with you and we'll get you over this hump. I took it. 2 months later it was over, and I thought I'd learned a lot, and I thanked her for taking me to the class. And then I said, well, what do you think? She said, take it again. 3 times. She said, take it again. And the 4th time when I went in to take it again, the instructors quit and canceled the class. So I kept trying to dance. An old man finally told me the secret of dance, which I'll be happy to share with anyone who would like to hear it. But in fact, it worked. And I got to where I could go around and ask the ladies to dance here in our music. I got rejected a lot, but I learned to handle rejection. And I saw a young lady sitting with her parents against the windows over there. Looked to be maybe 18. She was about the only one in the whole building that wasn't having fun. She was either watching her fingernails grow or counting them. She was watching the lights on the roof up there, and so I went over and invited her to dance. Her parents looked shocked when she said she would. We got up on the dance floor. She didn't know where to put her hands. We figured that out. When we danced, she was stiff-legged. Well, that wasn't far removed from what I was. We got her back to her parents, and they were crying. The lady that I thought was maybe 18 or so was 32 years old. She had autism. She'd never in her life had the courage or the desire to get up and dance. But she did, and they came back for a couple of years. Amy got so she'd dance by herself or with anyone who asked. She came to me the 3rd year and she said, Bill, I'm not going to be here this year. Why not, Amy? I'm going to a camp for the autistic, and I'm the dance instructor. That's what I think we do, and that is by using simple things like music, dance, monarch butterflies that we try to preserve, telling stories about the Revolutionary War. The things that we do are simple things, but they change lives. And that's what thrills me about the orchard and what our mission is. So I want to take a minute or two now. How did you time that?
Yeah. Got 10 more minutes, Bill.
Well, there are several groups that I want to mention. One are the thousands of people who come each year and support us by their presence, and who we support as we can with simple things that may change their lives. There are hundreds, a lot of people in this room who make donations, and we are a nonprofit, and so we're always short on money. But we get a lot of support from our folks. We have at this time the best staff that we have had, and they are able to put things together like this, and I don't have to anymore. But Beth Hilton is our executive director and do everything, and Alicia Silman is our manager inside. And you go to the shortest person you can find in there, and it will be Alicia. But she's the toughest and best manager we've had inside that store. And John Yurka is our field man. He has his hands full every day with all the apples that we have. But there are three people who I think we could not have been standing up here without. And I want to introduce them. Two are not here, but the third one is my sister Kit. She came to see Judy and me a year or so after we were living here. Of course, she'd been here a lot before because she also lived in the community from time to time. But I had taught myself I was going to have a job for my retirement. And so I was weaving, making rectangles on loom at a furious pace. And I thought she was interested in that. Well, she was for 5 minutes. She said I was the only type A left brain weaver she'd ever seen. She got bored with that and sat down in the corner and read the Spruce Pine newspaper. Now, I can't tell you what it means to a person to be turned down so they can go and read the Spruce Pine newspaper. It comes out one day a week. It's 10 pages. It doesn't matter how, or 12 pages, excuse me. Doesn't matter how many murders or marriages there have been. It's 12 pages, and she didn't know a soul in that paper. And she got so tired she went back and read the want ads and saw the ads for the orchard. The only thing that interested her about the orchard was this. There's the parkway. Both sides of the parkway is the orchard for 1 mile and 4/10. Whoever bought that orchard had 2 frontages, one on each side of the parkway for that long. And what they might do with that land to make $1 or $1 million was build ugly things. Ugly by the standards of the parkway. So she said, I'm not going to let that happen. She called the number in the newspaper. The man that was selling the farm answered the phone, and she bought the farm on the phone at his rate. And it's a good thing she did. You know, if she'd been talking to me or anything else, she would have called at the wrong time. You see, She was the 5th caller. The first 4 were on the guy's machine, and he didn't know it. He walked in when he heard her call ringing. She bought the farm on the phone. The first caller was a developer who had in mind a subdivision up there on that side of the parkway, 50 or 60 houses, and down here, no telling what he would have done. He called up. Sis went, I went with her. He tried everything he could think of, well, except marriage. That wouldn't have worked either. Offered her twice as much as she paid for all this. That got turned down. Offered her a partnership in his development. That got turned down. She said, my dream is different from yours. My dream is to see this place never be developed. And this is her legacy. So, the second person who I want to honor with this presentation is Rusty Painter. Rusty Painter is a CTNC, Conservation Trust for North Carolina, 501c3 public charity. He did 2 outstanding things that made this possible. First of all, when Sis was worried about what might happen in the future to the land up there, he's land acquisition for CTNC, jumped at the opportunity to buy that land from Sis so it could never ever be developed, no matter what her heirs might do. So the Conservation Trust bought that from her and almost immediately gave it to the Blue Ridge Parkway. So part of Sis's purchase is now forever controlled. The part on this side was going to be tightly controlled as long as she was alive, believe me. But the Conservation Trust and Rusty got involved with that too. And they preserved 3,000 acres over here with endowments, with only able to legally do nothing to build on the land. And occasionally, if they could improve the forest a little bit, they might be able to mess with the trees. But no houses, no change to this view. And so, because of Sis's start and Rusty's jumping on the problem, this view will be here forever. And I really appreciate Sis and Rusty for that. The third person is my wife, Judy. She had Alzheimer's and she passed 3 months ago. But every step of the way, she was involved in what I did and was a partner. And without her, we would not be here either.